With so much choice out there, picking a new laptop can be hard. I wanted three things from mine. I wanted it to be well built, repairable, and powerful. Let's see what I picked up and why. This is the XPS from Dell. A top-tier, work-oriented device, this is Dell's competitor to the Apple MacBook Pro. This particular model is the 9560 from 2017. I picked this older model as of its wider selection of ports, but also because it was a few $1,000s cheaper than buying a new one. I paid $1,176, which was slightly cheaper than the average priced 2017 base model. Mine has the upgraded 4K display, inbuilt fingerprint reader, and twice as much RAM as advertised in the listing. It's fair to say it was a bargain. Internally, it's packing an Intel Core i7 7700HQ at 2.8 GHz, GTX 1050 graphics, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 512 gig SSD. In terms of ports, it's got a power input, two USB Type-A, a Type-C, HDMI, headphone jack, and an SD card reader. You'll even find a battery indicator light on the right-hand side, just like the old MacBooks had. This is one of my favorite features on the device, as I can see how charged it is without even powering it up. So with powerful hardware, ports, and a high-res screen, how repairable and upgradable is it? Before even opening it up, I wanted to see Dell's approach to repair. Some companies won't provide any information or acknowledge that their products could be open for upgrades or repair. Looking on Dell's support page for this laptop, I was able to access drivers, diagnostic software, documentation, and even parts. Under documentation, you can find a service manual, which is available as a PDF or web page. This repair manual gives you step-by-step procedures for removing everything and includes useful info like screw types and sizes, as well as the tools you'll need. On the parts and upgrades page, you can find replacement SSDs, hard drives, and RAM. I wasn't able to find a battery for my model, but they do sell them for other laptops, so I'm not sure if it's just out of stock, discontinued, or not listed for another reason. It's time I get inside and see for myself how upgradable it is. There's 10 3mm T5 screws that need to be unfastened, along with two 8mm screws under the XPS logo. My unit is missing a screw, but thanks to that previously mentioned repair manual, I know exactly what screw I need to replace it. Lifting up the base unveils the internals. Right off the bat, we have access to the DDR4 RAM, SSD, battery, Wi-Fi card, and heatsink for the CPU and GPU. This makes upgrades to the RAM and SSD a breeze, and a battery replacement take just a few screws. It's amazing how rare it is to find this in modern laptops. Some have soldered on everything and gone as far as gluing in the battery. Speaking of laptops with glued-in batteries, this is the laptop I'm upgrading from. A 2013 MacBook Pro. A well-built laptop on the outside with a decent selection of ports. Internally, it could have been designed much better. Removing the bottom cover requires taking out 10 pentalobe screws. These are Apple-designed screws which are also found on the iPhone and prevent people from easily opening up their device. Inside, we'll find 16 gigs of soldered-in memory, no upgrades there. It does, however, have a removable SSD, but it's got a proprietary connector on it, requiring a third-party adapter to fit any regular SSD. The battery is glued in and cannot be removed without great force. I've done it to a few other Apple laptops, including an identical model to mine, but it's just time-consuming and dangerous compared to a battery that's just screwed in. While this is an older MacBook, newer ones feature more soldered-on components. The RAM, SSD, and Wi-Fi cards are all soldered in place, meaning if one fails, the whole computer is rendered broken. While it's easy to compare this laptop to Apple's, as I've owned several, this is something seen across the board. This Microsoft Surface is glued together and has its battery held in with adhesive. Despite all that though, the SSD is still upgradable. On the Dell XPS, getting the battery out is a very simple task. While it's not as simple as the old school hot swappable batteries, which I would love to see, that's just not really possible on these ultra thin laptops. It's held in with 7 Phillips screws that all have arrows pointing to them, so you know straight away which ones need to be removed. Next to each arrow is the size of each screw. In the case of this laptop though, they're all the same. And you can see that's just how easy it is to get this 97 watt-hour battery out of the laptop. Underneath it, you'll see that there's a section for an extra hard drive, which could be configured at the factory. Adding in that cable and bracket, you could easily add the smaller battery and get a second storage device. When it comes to RAM, mine has been configured with 16GB, although it can be upgraded to a maximum capacity of 32. I'll be sticking with 16GB for now, as that's plenty for what I'll be doing with this laptop. Other things of note inside is the modular Wi-Fi card and power jack. The remainder of the ports are soldered on, but if you take care of your device, these usually aren't points of failure. The heatsink is also mounted on the bottom side, making reapplying the thermal paste only take a few screws. In the case of my XPS, a few of the pieces of tape inside the device have been tampered with, so I'm guessing some work has been done to the device. With that overview, it's time I get the laptop reassembled. I have no need to disassemble it further as it's working perfectly fine, very clean, and the thermal pads still appear soft. But as time goes on and maintenance is needed, or I require more storage, it's good knowing that I purchased the right laptop to accommodate that. Getting the rear panel attached, I can reinstall the total 12 screws to secure it in place. So this is it, my new but slightly used laptop. It's almost perfect, but sometimes the cursor moves about a centimeter when I click the trackpad, causing misclicks. However, using tap to click is a workaround. There are other manufacturers offering laptops with upgradability and repairability in mind. Some to consider are a framework laptop, a 2012 or older MacBook Pro, or most gaming laptops. This was the one I chose, as it had a great screen, good amount of ports, and loads of room to tinker, and finding it at a good price was just a bonus. And on that note, this has been a Hugh Jeffries video. If you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button and consider checking out the computer playlist for more videos just like this one. And if you're looking for any used devices, be sure to check out my online store, link for which is down in the description. That's all for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.